Oh boy. I'm not even going to do my countdown. This is going to be a very broad ass topic here. Um, a lot of people of you know that I went to school to be a coach. Um, I could probably consider myself as a football coach and things. I know exactly how what Kellen's going with right now with the Saints. Um, it is going to be difficult, a difficult season. He's a rookie coach in a really bad situation right now. This is really bad. To make things worse, Derek Carr has announced his retirement. Their starting quarterback just retired about 2 weeks after the draft. Um, yeah, yeah, this is not good. This is the worst case scenario for the Saints. Um, Now, here's the situation that people need to realize. Um, Draft is in hindsight. Draft is in hindsight. You draft the players that you need the most at the time of your pick. Best available player for that particular position at that point in the draft. Saints did not need a first round quarterback. No, so they actually picked good for their first pick. Actually, believe it or not, they picked good. Um, and then they picked up a quarterback for a backup. That is a good idea. That's a good idea, and that was done in hindsight for um, Derek Carr. That was done in hindsight if Derek Carr got injured again, that they would have a good backup that could possibly take his place. That quarterback that they picked up is not ready for a starting position spotlight. None of them are. None of the players that they have at quarterback are. So, the only thing that they have good going on is to get Aaron Rodgers. Go and get Aaron Rodgers. See if he can sign a contract with them and save our season at least. Otherwise, otherwise, we're stuck with the first overall pick. Um, I hate to say that. That hurts me to say it. But first round selection next year will definitely need to be a quarterback. I want the quarterback room there to prove me wrong. I need Mickey Loomis to make a trade or a deal somewhere to help save the season. Um, I need them to not fire Kellen this first time as a head coach because he is put in between a rock and a hard place. He cannot escape where he's at right now. He cannot control where he's at. So don't blame the coach overall for this. I'm not going to blame him this season. If they fire him this season, I'm going to be upset. Okay? This is not a coaching issue. As a coach, myself, I am not going to blame Kellen for what is going on with the Saints. I'm not. I'm not. So throw that out the window. Throw that out the window. You don't need to fire the head coach for being put into the position that he is put in right now. Don't do that. Don't do that. Put someone in that's going to be good at quarterback. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck tanking the season and fighting for whoever the best quarterback is for the next draft. People are projecting the next draft class is going to be tank full of quarterbacks. I get that. I get that. So get the best quarterback available. And chances are what you may have to do is draft Arch Manning. I mean, unless you come up with some random deal this offseason or so, in the next few weeks, 3 months, you know, gotta do something, gotta do a big splash. Kellen has already announced that there's going to be a quarterback battle between the three quarterbacks that they currently have. And he's going to start the best one. That is the smartest move that you can make at this point. But Mr. Loomis needs to actually get a good, needs to make a big splash this offseason. Right now. You have so many months to do this. If you decide not to and say, hey, this is what we got, so be it. Let it be. Let it be. But many fans are already calling for Mick Loomis's head. I can already tell you that. So if there needs to be a firing, fire Loomis. Just fire Loomis. Don't fire Kellen. Fire Loomis. But yes. Another thing about the draft and Shedeur Slide. A perspective thing is mostly due to character, but you want to really reevaluate. I mostly will want to reevaluate that draft order, and that's going to be a lot of research for that. I mean, I hate to go throughout every single draft order and things and see where it went. I know the Browns picked out several different guys, including a quarterback before they picked up Sanders. I do know that. But it's all about positions and what you need. So Titans picked up first. They got Tim Ward as quarterback. So Ward evidently impressed them more so than the others. Jackson Dart got picked up by the Giants. Giants picked out a pass rusher first time and then traded up and got the quarterback. You know, it's all about needs. It's all about needs and who's the best available at that time. So it's Jackson Jackson Dart a solid first round top 5 pick? I'd probably say no. Uh, I'm being honest, no, probably not. Top round, first round pick, yes, but not. I mean, you look at the overalls there that they picked smart there. Mostly, they had to bolster up their defense as well as their offense. So, would I have said that yes, they needed a quarterback there? Yes. Um, they should have picked up the quarterback first, but I understand why they went with the pass rusher because you cannot guarantee that he's going to be still there. He's still going to be there. Um, and that doesn't even summarize Sanders' slide down either. There were several other teams that needed a quarterback that didn't go with him um, as well for different reasons. Mostly because of his father's ego, his character development, everything else. He really has to prove himself. He really does. Um, and show that he is an NFL caliber player. Um, and show that he can stick to playing in the NFL. The scouts and coaches go through a lot of evaluations of players just to see if they're able to mesh with the team beforehand. I've seen it. I have actually seen it while at USM. They go through a lot of evaluations and a lot of character development, every single thing that you can think of. So to say that um, Sanders should have been a first round prospect, yes and no. Yes and no. Um, Steelers really needed a quarterback. Every time they came up, they picked up almost everything except for a quarterback at one point. So yeah, I kind of disagree with that. After the fourth round and things, you know that you're going with backups at that point. So many fans just barely pay attention to it. They'll look for a name for them, or they'll check occasionally to see who their team picks. At that point, no one's really paying that much attention to the draft after the fourth round. Um, that's coming from a fan's perspective too. Um, some fans probably will pay attention throughout the entire draft, but the final day is an all-day event, all day. So if you don't have something going on that day, yeah, you're gonna be watching the draft and see whose name gets called. Many college players are busy watching that ticker to see if their name is called because at that point they're not getting a phone call really. They're going to get just a name on there and things. They may get an email, they may get a phone call later on and say, hey, this is so and so, do this. You know, stuff like that. You're not going to see much of um, name calls. You're not going to see them come on the stage and do it. They did it a few times um, that day, but it wasn't really that big. Tom Gossi was there, so yeah. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the draft, but overall, if you have a top-notch player, and this is the thing that a lot of analysts and experts don't realize, is what goes on behind the scenes of the front offices in coaching and also in sports management and things, is that if you have a team that has a good solid player and things, and there's a draft pick or a player on the draft board that's obviously a first round pick, obviously good and things, you have to look at your team and say, okay, is this guy better than what we got? That's number one. That's going to be the number one thing that you would have to do. Two, they ignore the hype. They really do ignore the hype. Um, so they're not going to pay attention to the experts. They're not going to pay attention to Mel Kiper or anything like that really that much. They're going to be looking at who they've already evaluated, what they need, and everything else. If they don't need a quarterback and there's a first round quarterback, they're not going to pick a quarterback. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's just going to eat that pick. If someone wants to trade him for him, so be it. So be it. But it better be in the next 2 or 3 picks for them to pick up the guy that they actually wanted at that point. Um, so if someone is projected to be like the number 3 pick, and let's say he's a wide receiver, and you look at all of the teams, all the top 10 teams of that draft, and you look at what all they need, and you look at their roster, and you see that every single team of those, they don't really need a wide receiver. They need someone else, another position that is in higher need. They're going to go with that higher need position. They really are. So when the experts say, very surprised that this guy's dropping down, he's not dropping down based off of anything except for the team's needs. Roethlisberger, Rodgers, they all dropped down mostly due to the team needs, more so than anything else. I can go back and look at all those drafts and can tell you that all these Hall of Famers, all these guys that weren't picked in the top 10, and they had a huge slide, and people were saying, well, why are they sliding? It was either due to character development or the fact that they weren't um, they were just in a bad draft class, bad timing for it. Um, if and you know you look at all that hype and all the stuff there, it's not going to be looking good for them. So that's something that fans and experts need to put into consideration is, you know, does this team actually need this particular player right now? Some would say yes. Some would say yes. But as a coach, as someone who has actually been involved in the drafts and things in a draft room, I'm going to say no. No, you don't need to go by the hype of a player. You don't need to go by that. You need to go by what your team needs and what's best for the team. Um, so when you look at those players that slid down in draft, the first thing that I ask, my first question is, who did the other teams pick? What positions did the other teams pick? Did any of the other teams pick that same position? And if so, who? Okay. Before Roethlisberger, there was Eli and Phil Rivers. That is obvious. They are Hall of Famers in their own rights anyway. So there's that. Roethlisberger's a Hall of Famer. There's that. Um, Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that there were many quarter. I mean, yes, the first overall pick, that there was a quarterback, and he slid down massively, massively due to that. So, does he? Would you say that he needed to slid down that far down and get picked by the Green Bay Packers? I don't know. That's a hindsight thing. When he became a starter, he lit up the league. He really did. So yeah, those 3 years behind Brett Favre really helped him out. Um, you can argue that yes, that really did help him out, help him get ready. Um, so would putting him out there as a starter for a lower ranked team really boost his abilities? That's all in hindsight. Hindsight. So saying a rookie would be good being drafted first to be a starter, you first have to see, can he handle the pressure? Can he handle the pressure of being a starter for the NFL? That's number one. Um, can I see that Arch Manning being drafted first overall? Yeah, sure, sure, sure. All of his family's been drafted first round. You know, you know, first, second picks. So obviously, he should be able to handle that pressure. Will he handle that pressure? Time will tell. Time will tell. Um, so there's that. The Saints do have the wide receiver room and the capabilities of getting a good, making a mediocre quarterback look great right now as it is. But they may also want to draft get a good another wide receiver. That's just what I'm thinking right now. Um, Also, bolster the O line to make sure that quarterbacks don't get hurt. You know that's really the best that they can do right now is get the quarterback room, get everything else situated there. They're going to need probably a good bit for the draft next year. Not gonna lie, not gonna lie. They're going to need to do something to increase their chances in the draft. They should not consider tanking. They need to play at their best level as it is. You know, That's all you need to do. And fans, management, whatever, will probably say, yeah, tell the coach, tank this season for this. No, no, no. Don't tank. You never want to tank for a player. I'm telling you that right now. You never want to tank for a player. My philosophy is play at your best. You play at your best and you win at the best of your level. You show them the best of your ability to win the game. If you show them at your best, then they will not criticize you at your worst. So, losing on purpose to get a bear draft pick is the worst idea I have ever seen or ever heard to do. And yes, teams have done that. Teams have strategized on that. Management has prepared for that and everything else. Everyone, every bad team wants that first overall pick. I get that. I get that. When the Texans had that really bad season and they beat the Colts and they fired their head coach because of it, because of winning. You know, that is a really bad philosophy for the general manager to do because you play the game to win. You don't play for the picks or anything like that. And they actually got it to where it actually helped them more so than hurt them to get that second overall pick. They got CJ Stroud, and he literally landed in their laps. If they had got the first overall pick, would they have gotten Stroud? I honestly do believe that they would have gotten Bryce Young. And look at what Young's doing right now with the Panthers. I mean, it's really not that great. It really isn't great. So, is that all Bryce's fault? I can't really say. Um, there's room for improvement for him, yes, but I cannot say that Bryce Young is a solid answer for the Panthers right now. It may be a scheme fit situation, it may be something else, but they need something to improve. And this is coming from Saints fan. Um, but yeah, Mickey, you need to go ahead and do something, do a trade or whatever it is. If you do not do something in the offseason and you just do nothing and you let Kellen handle it, you're going to put him in between a rock and a hard place. And I don't want to see at the end of the season Saints fire Kellen Moore. I don't want to see that. I want to see Saints get a good draft pick, draft up a good quarterback, or do something in the offseason and say that they addressed this quarterback situation and they got their franchise guy. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to hear. Everything else. Everything else. But yes, this has been the Jedi 08. Um, also known as Jeremy the Jedi Guillory. Thank you and goodbye.